Hello.
Hello.
I briefly forgot how to do this. It's been so long because like the last time we recorded was actually like April, basically, because we had stuff and then we did the conference right
we
after.
did ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were ahead. So then I was sitting here and I was like, what do I do?
We don't know how to talk.
Is this working? What do we talk about? Then we've sat here for an hour.
Oh, has it been
because
an hour?
We hadn't seen each other since.
We had shit to catch up on. And we still, I feel, have not covered everything.
Was the conference in April or May?
I think it was like May 1st.
Okay, that's why. So May. Yeah. And a lot of shit happened.
Have we not recorded since then?
No.
Oh my God.
So we had stuff like in the bucket, basically, and then we ran out of bucket.
Look at us being organized. I'm just along for the ride. I do what I'm told. You're one of like 2 people who can tell me what to do.
You're like, okay, all right.
I'm like, all right, this is the way it's going to go.
Jots down that power.
I'm telling you, it's you and Frida, because pretty much nobody else could tell me shit. And people will admit that. You can't tell me anything.
Is it demand avoidance?
I will tell you there's a caveat to that, but I'm not going to share it on the air.
Okay, don't do it. It does have to do with sex.
In fact,
it does.
And since my children sometimes listen to this
we'll
podcast,
stop right there.
I'm just going to, we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it later.
Put a pin in that. We'll definitely that off the air.
There is a new sitcom on Netflix. It's called Leanne. Yes.
Watch the first, because I like her stand-up.
I do like her stand-up. Were you not impressed with the first episode?
We just watched the first one last, because we're watching Hunting Wives. We started Hunting Wives and watched a bunch of episodes. So I thought it was like going to be a lewd female comedy, and it is not funny.
Oh.
So I had to make that adjustment, like a mental adjustment. But I mean, it's dramatic, and it
looked like it might be interesting.
Yes.
People I have nothing in common with.
I mean, we watched like 6 episodes straight in a row. We normally don't do. I will binge when we're apart. We will binge our own things, but like together, we like to spread them out so that we have like stuff to watch together. And so, no, we watched like 6 episodes in a row yesterday. So I guess it's good. I guess it's compelling enough.
I guess so.
Is what I would say.
When I first watched Leanne, which was just like 2 nights ago, I watched like 3 or 4 of them, and I was like, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again. I watched a few episodes last night, and I found myself laughing more.
Okay.
So it got better.
I mean, we laughed. I have a thing with the sitcom pacing where it's obviously sitcom, and they're like pausing for the laugh kind of thing.
And the woman who plays her sister.
Oh, yeah, from
Third Rock.
Yeah.
But she was also on Mom.
Yeah.
And she was on something else. I can't remember. But they should not make that woman do Southern accent, because she keeps fading in and out of it.
She was fading in and out of it. The Canadian Ryan guy who was on the husband.
Yes, Ryan Stiles.
Ryan Stiles is also trying to do a Southern accent.
He is at least, I'm not saying he's better.
I mean, he talks for 20 seconds at a time.
Yes, he's a little more consistent with it.
Okay.
She just is like, I don't know how they would have got, because Leanne, that's her natural accent.
Right.
That is how she
And
talks.
I actually love her accent.
Yes.
Even though she's got like the nasal voice where she's all up in her nose. But that entertains me as much as the comedy. But the rest of them are painful.
They should just not make them.
Yes.
I do like, you'll see a little more of the neurotic, tiny little neighbor.
Okay.
And I do like her parents.
Yeah, I actually thought they chose the perfect woman to play her mom, because she has that unusual look too.
Yes.
So it actually really works.
Yes.
So, yeah. But that's it. We've only watched 1 episode of that. We watched it after Hunting Wives before he went to bed. We watched 1 episode.
That would be seems like it would be a difficult transition.
Yeah, we were watching a lighter thing before he went to bed, basically.
I have finally become part of the cult of Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I saw the entire first season, and I've gotten into the second season.
Yeah.
Because when I was visiting Frida, she has Apple TV. So when I go back, I have a list of things to watch on Apple TV. I need to ask Patrick as well. You watch Apple? What do I need to watch on Apple TV?
There are supposed to be a bunch of good stuff. There's been a few where I was like, ooh, what's this? And I was like, oh, it's on Apple TV. I'm not getting it.
Right?
Yeah.
But yes, I will. Everything everyone has ever said about Ted Lasso, they're absolutely correct. I fucking love it.
You know, I think I've discovered that I've been like doing this deep dive on like reels and shit to learn about all the new things I've learned about myself the last few years, right? How many diagnoses have I gotten in the last few years?
Oh my God.
A few. And then I dive into that. I know. It's been crazy.
Okay.
I'm like, I could have a complete breakdown now. Nobody could blame me.
No. I would say in the last few years, you've made the diagnosis. But
yeah, they've gone in and been like,
hey. And they're like, oh, yeah, that does seem to be what it is. And you're like, thanks a fucking lot.
Right. Thank you for actually doing your job. No. So then I fall into these things and I'm in this loop and then I'm learning about the things. But so demand avoidance comes up a lot. And I know that I have it. I thought I was like ODD2 or something, but it's, which is oppositional defiance disorder, which it might be. It might be.
How do you define, what's the difference?
I don't know. I haven't looked into the ODD by itself, but like, so demand avoidance is big in autism and possibly in ADHD. I don't know. But it's like this automatic like shutdown if somebody tells you to do something. You can ask me to do something and I'll be, of course, and I'll do the thing. But if you say, go do the thing, then I'm like, nope, now I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I've realized that my resistance, whenever people are like, you need to watch Doctor Who, you need to do this, that I always shut down and I don't watch the new thing everybody's talking about. And now I'm like, is that demand avoidance? I think it is. Because nobody ever says, hey, you might like this thing. It's always, you would like this. And I'm like, well, now I won't like it.
I think you're just quirky.
That's probably one of the main things they tell autistics, right? You're just quirky.
I'm like, because I'm not going to say I'm somewhat the same way, but yeah, if somebody tells me, oh, you have to watch this, I'm like, fuck off.
No, well, now I'm not going to watch it. Fuck you.
I will watch it in 10 years. I started watching True Blood.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
I mean, how many years has that been off the air?
It's good. I like it better than I think the books. Eventually, I like it better than the books.
I will say, what's the actress's name who plays Sookie?
Ooh, I don't remember.
Anna Paquin?
Yes, Paquin.
I think. She has absolutely, well, I mean, it's set in the Deep South and they're wearing little tiny shorts all the time. She has probably the cutest ass in the history of television.
Huh. I can't say I remember her ass, but it could be. She seems like she's like well built and like not skinny, not overweight, in good shape, probably does some working out, so it makes sense.
Probably. And she was, I mean, how many years ago was this made?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it was, somebody said, I was asking somebody if they watched it and they said, what was that one? I said, it's very Southern. I said, it's a lot of very pretty people having a lot of enthusiastic sex. And I said, oh, and vampires.
And some bestiality. Isn't the one dude, he's like a werewolf.
He's a shifter. But he usually changes into a dog.
That's right.
We haven't seen him change
That's still bestiality.
Yes, but he says he can change into other things. But, well, is it bestiality if he's a human?
I feel like that's a fine line. If he could become a dog at any time, it may still be bestiality. But I don't think that that author went full Laurel K. Hamilton where it was bestiality frequently.
No. She did not.
No. So, I mean, shifter erotica and shifter romance do go all in. Yeah. I don't think she did that.
They boldly go. But it's interesting. It's because the main character, Sookie Stackhouse, her brother.
But you've met Lala. Lafayette.
Oh, yes, Lafayette.
By far the best character. Did you read the books? Lafayette dies in like the first book.
I did, but it's been a long time since I read any of the books. Love Lafayette's character. Absolutely.
That actor, amazing. Also dead, I believe. So,
God, sad. That's sad.
Because that's why we haven't seen that beautiful, beautiful man again.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
If I remember right. It's been a long time.
But the character of Sookie's brother.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember.
Jason.
Yes. Why does anybody fuck him? He is so stupid.
I know, he's really dumb.
I mean, he's pretty, but he's obviously, let's just say he's athletic, but he's stupid.
I've seen that actor in other stuff now, and he always in my head is instantly like dumb.
Yes.
He played that really well. He plays something serious, and I'm like, I can't take you seriously.
That would be, that would be difficult to see him in a serious role. Because it's just, he plays that dumb pretty boy so well.
He does, yeah.
It's just like, no.
I'm trying to remember the Viking vampire. Is it Pam who's like his second in command, the lady?
Oh, who's Eric?
Eric, yeah.
His second? No, wait. Which one is she dating?
A black woman.
Oh, no, I haven't met her yet.
Oh, okay. I seem to recall liking and hating, probably.
Or if I've met her, she isn't a regular yet.
Okay. Interesting.
I think I'm only in the second season.
I don't remember what season anything was in.
And it's something to have on usually while I'm doing something else.
Yes. I just remember Lafayette was by far my favorite character.
And every time you look up, people are fornicating.
It's true.
It's like, God damn.
Oh, there it is again.
Wow. Wow, they're really fit. Wow, he's really not.
Like, I have to think when you watch these shows, I'm like, it must get monotonous. All right, how do we switch? Because, like, I've reached points where I'm like, I'm not going to write horror for a little bit because I can only write so many reactions and, like, indications that somebody is scared or whatever without being like, have I said this before?
Yes.
And so I feel like you must reach that point with, like, sex scenes when you have that many and you're like, oh, God, what can we do that's different in this?
That's different
that conveys well on screen and isn't actual porn. Or
that's a good point. Mm-hmm. It's although there are scenes. It's funny because there's a woman who's come into town and she's what is Sookie's best friend's name?
Nope, that I don't remember. Apparently they're not interesting to me.
Oh, she works as a bartender. I'm just.
Oh, is she like the little spunky one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Anyway, this woman sweeps into town and she's some kind of demon. We've figured that out, but she's instigating all these orgies all over the damn place. And I'm like, wow, because like everybody is taking their shirts off and taking their clothes. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's the pretty ones and it's the less conventionally pretty ones.
All right.
It's the coroner at one point because you see him in the coroner's office and he's like, well, if we're done here, I got to go to the gym. Having a little more shirt off time these days. And I'm like, you just seen him the night before, like fornicating on the front lawn of someone's house, someone's mansion.
Wow. I don't even remember. I don't really remember. It's been years. Like specifics. Like I remember characters, but not specific.
I also don't find the main vampire that Sookie's entranced with. I don't find him attractive at all.
Oh yeah, the brunette.
Yeah, he's just kind of raw boned and
no, he didn't do it for me either. I don't think. No. He's really not an interesting character comparatively either. Once you throw in all these crazy other people, he's bland.
He is. He really is because he wants
the most boring.
He wants to follow the rules and he wants to be nice and. That's right, kitty.
That's right. You tell him, Cleo. She wants outside because my husband is outside. She'll just go sit on the back porch with him. She's very vocal lately. We've never had a problem with people hearing this cat. Every other cat, no, not Athena, but
well, I mean, for the first year or 2 years, for the first year, nobody ever heard a cat. You could hear the when she was
when she do her paws,
but we never heard a meow. And I think it was 2 years before one came into the room.
And we're like, all right, I guess you've been here enough.
Yeah.
I can just.
Fine. You're probably fine. Because with cats, that's the best you can get is probably. You're probably okay.
You're right. I will accept you for now. I will let you touch me until I'm done letting you touch me. Yeah. So, that sounded like a question. I feel like I should just text Jeffrey and say, let her the fuck out. So what have you done this summer? Like
since last we spoke, I went to the Pacific Northwest I went to Port Townsend in Washington. It was amazing. It was cold, but it was a heat wave back here. So it was, we had to have jackets.
What month was
it? June.
Wow.
They call it January.
Oh. That makes sense.
So it was my nephew's birthday party. So the day of his party, it was nice. The high was like probably 68, maybe 70.
Okay.
So that was, but I had never been up there. And not long before we went, Nikki's partner found out he was going to be stationed in that part of the country later this year. So they got to drive through there. I haven't caught you up yet. So yeah, they were able to drive through and see the town where he'll be stationed, and they'll have family, about an hour away. And
it's a drastic change, East Coast to West Coast, Pacific Northwest Coast.
She is very happy to be leaving. Nikki is very happy to be leaving the South.
Okay.
So, and I did go, let's see, I did that. We went to Kansas. I have stories I can't tell on the air. Not anything bad. I said something really rude, and I don't want to be disrespectful.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So because if I told you, you would laugh. People who know me would laugh because they would know what I was doing with the joke. But I don't want to speak ill of the deads.
Okay.
Oh my God. But while we were in Kansas, so 4th of July, we went to Kansas to visit Thing One, and we went to, what's the name of the ice cream place?
In Kansas?
In Kansas. It's only in Kansas, or mostly in Kansas. I can't think of the name of it. And if Lucy is listening, she's yelling the name. Right now. It's Brahms. Okay. That's what it is. It's Brahms. They had this special Mexican ice cream. They had like 8 different flavors, and they all looked good. And then I got to one that was mango sorbet with chamoy, swirl in it. I had to go back and get it a second time. It was so good. It was crazy good. I was like, I would eat this every day. I'm glad I don't live near a Brahms.
There's a dessert. What is it? It's not just dessert. There's a place in the little, fuck a duck. Everything I'm trying to use for a reference is fleeing from my brain. It's in Rock Rimmon, and it's a little shop, and they have like the fruit with the chamoy and stuff like that. So you can go try like the actual desserts there. It's in
Rock Rimmon by Oliver's.
Yes. Oh, it's in there. It's buried kind of on the back side. Okay. So yeah, there's a place. I haven't been there yet, and I keep meaning to, because they have like all the fruit and all the elote and stuff like that, snacks, and
let's go.
Yeah, I need to go.
I went to the little Mexican restaurant in there.
Yeah,
that was good.
Is that one?
Zapatas.
Okay.
Zapatos.
That's where I had lengua the first time, which is cow tongue.
Yes.
And that is the last time I had lengua, because somebody legit, it wasn't ground.
Right.
I think I might have talked about this on here before, because it was fucking horrifying. So they had cut it, but they hadn't cut all the way through. So I started eating, and it sprang back together, and it was a fucking cow tongue licking me back. Like I could feel. Gross. It was the grossest. I was gagging, and I was forcing myself to eat because I won't waste food. And my husband was like, please throw it away. We can get another taco. It's okay to throw this, because I was like, woo, woo, and I'm just gagging eating it. And it was, there's like tears streaming down my face from trying not to get. It was so, the texture.
Yes.
The taste. It's not that the taste was bad. It was the texture. I know I could never sit there and just eat a whole cow's tongue. Because
nor would I ever ask you to.
Now, if I'm ever on one of those shows, they know exactly what to chuck me. But guess what? I could have eaten it. I just would have gagged the whole time. That's what she said.
You would have gagged. I was going to say you would have gagged and you would have cried.
But I would have eaten it. It takes a lot to make me not do a thing if I've been challenged. Yeah. So there was never the spite, as we said, we were talking about something else. Spite can get you through a lot. And really, that's gotten me through a lot of accomplishments in my life, because it was, you can't do this. And I was like, oh, what? Okay. Now I have to do it. What is that? That's the opposite of demand avoidance. Why is there no word for that?
I don't know. I do not know.
That's just obstinance.
What gets you through the day? Spite. Not every day.
Most of the days recently.
And not every minute of every day. But yeah, fuck it. Spite.
Yes. Well, I did a lot this summer.
You have.
So far. Jesus, it's just August. I'm so ready for fall. So ready for a transition at this point. But so we had the conference.
Yeah.
And we have our recording from that. That was the last episode, which is at the conference. So I won't talk about the conference.
Okay.
But then I went to York. Well, after that, so I went to the UK after that, and it was amazing. And I also, out of spite, did not intend to really like England, but wanted to love Scotland because I feel a kinship with them because of colonizers.
Okay.
Because they have been, they were in the very same situation. I consider them like indigenous in their way, right? And they've had their language largely taken away from their culture. And God damn it, I loved York and I loved Whitby. I fell in love with like 2 towns in Yorkshire. I didn't love all of them, but I loved 2 towns in Yorkshire and I got to see the moors, which is a big thing for me, which is so funny because people are like, why? And I'm like, okay, because I really loved the secret garden and I had this image in my head of the moors because that's where the mansion is.
And you want to know, was I right?
And honestly, the moors have such a feel to them in all sorts of literature.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get down to it, it's really just like some dark fields. But I was still so excited. Like Jeffrey got a text the day that I was like, I'm in the moors. I'm looking at a moor right now. So I got to see the moors. And Whitby is this little, it was seriously magical, but like this little harbor town. I love a harbor town.
Mm-hmm.
Like more than a beach town, I love a harbor town. There's a feel to it. There's an energy to it. And Whitby is that. We got to ride a steam train. Ooh. That's how we entered into this town, went past a viaduct and an ancient viaduct. Ooh. And you arrive in this town and there's all these great ships and there's the hustle and bustle, which is weird because it's like the only type of thing I like a hustle and bustle in is a harbor town.
Mm-hmm.
Why? But anyway, and up on the hill is Whitby Abbey, which is this these ruins of this abbey that, by the way, had an abbess, which was very rare,
nice.
A woman in charge of it. And it is one of the things that inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Very cool.
And knowing I was a horror author, the person who runs this event, she put me in a room that had a full view. And hysterically, because we had been Facebook friends for almost a year by the time we actually met each other, she purposely put me in the very Christian religious themed room at this inn we stayed in. So I was with this great group of women. There was nobody that we didn't like in this group of women.
That's unusual.
Which is rare, right? Yeah. And they, by and large, most of them were older than I am. But I think there were 2 people, one at least the same age as me, if not a little younger. I think a little younger. And one much younger. So anyway, we get there to this room and every room is themed and we're walking around checking out each other's rooms and stuff. And they laughed so hard. In my room, the hilarity, there were tears. I'm surprised there was no urination. Maybe we just don't know there was. Nobody said.
Some people wear Depends for a reason.
Yes. And it was just, everybody had to come in and see this. There's just Jesus everywhere. And there's Mary. And in the bathroom, there was this great clawfoot tub. I've never gotten to bathe in a clawfoot tub in my life, and I love them.
Did you?
I did.
Oh,
I made a point of it because I was like, I must, A, use this clawfoot tub that I have all to myself. B, there's a part of me that thinks that it would be wrong of me not to bathe under all the Jesus images in this bathroom because I just must commit this sin here and just be like, I'm naked under Jesus. So there we were. But yeah, and I got to everybody had like this kind of bagged breakfast delivered to their room. Oh. And I had this little tiny table and chair with like a velvet top.
Yes.
Where I got to sit that morning. Some people gathered in the gathering room below, and I got to spread out my lovely little breakfast and look out at the Abbey. But like sleeping under that Abbey, it was so awesome.
You talked about that breakfast. That was one thing I think you documented on Facebook.
Yes, because it was I love a thing like that. I don't know. It's like a picnic. It was like a little breakfast picnic with juice and like baked items and a boiled egg that I couldn't eat that I gave to somebody else later, and fruit and cheese, Irish butter. Like you had your own little pat of Irish butter. It wasn't a pat. It was a big ass chunk.
A little pot.
And by God, I used that Irish butter. I was not going to waste that. I was like, slather the shit out of this. You had your own tea maker in the room. Everywhere. Every single room I stayed in. That is a requirement. Yes. Not only that, it comes with tea.
Yep.
Some of them had like an instant coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They all had hot chocolate.
Nice.
And when I stayed at the Lister Arms, which was out in the Dales, which were also just sheep everywhere, little chonky sheep butts, because the babies were chonky. They were adorable.
Oh,
they were so cute. But like out there, yeah. Anyway, so really cool place. But yeah, really liked it.
Good.
And then Scotland, my husband came out and joined me, and Scotland was awesome too. We really liked Inverness.
I have not been to Inverness.
Edinburgh, I wanted so badly to like, because I love architecture.
That mile, what is it? The Royal
Mile.
That's hard to like because it is very commercial. It's very touristy.
Yes. And even when I posted and I said, I feel like this is the first on this entire trip, because your people are very nice in Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm.
And I was even telling a friend who used to live in Essex, who is from Essex, was like, the farther north you go, the nicer the people are, is what she told me. And I was like, okay, that just bears out, because I landed in London. So, and then got to go through a whole fucking adventure all by myself, finding first the underground to get to the train, and then to King's Cross Station, by the way, which Harry Potter fans would recognize. And then from King's Cross Station to York by train, and then a cab to my hotel there. But yeah, like that on its own was.
And you detailed that.
I did.
I was so happy to read that, because you see people, okay, not generally people in general. You see women traveling alone, and it's either one of two things. It's either written as a comedy and all the problems and all the issues, or it's written as some magical journey and strangers are just taking you by the hand and leading you through. And I felt like yours was very realistic and very hopeful. Right. Because that's something that I'm not comfortable with, is traveling alone. I don't have to travel with someone who knows what they're doing. I still want to be.
But you have like somebody.
Yeah, you have somebody you can at least turn to and go, what the fuck are we supposed to do now? So I liked it because you talked about what the issues were, and it wasn't like it was 100% horrible or anything, but you talked about what the issues were and how you overcame them. And I was like, see, it's real. People can do this. You don't have to be magical. You
might be terrified while you're doing it, but you could do it.
But you can do it.
I will say, when my husband came out a week later, I injured myself my first full day in York. We'll touch on that briefly, I guess. So York is a walled city. It's it's the most intact, I believe, in the UK of the walled cities that still exists. So it's not fully walled anymore, but there are still huge chunks of it that exist, and you can go up and walk around this wall that was meant to protect the city. And my very first day, woke up and was like, we're not getting together until like 4 p.m.
Oh.
Right. And so I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to explore this city. And by God, you can walk that entire city. And I did in 4 hours. And I went up and down those old stone steps. And by the time I got back, I was limping and my knee was really hurting, but I have arthritis. So I was like, okay, I'm like, I boogered up, whatever. And that thus began my voyage of trying to get fucking ice anywhere. In the UK.
Yeah,
because it's not a big thing.
No.
Finally, I will say that I started eventually saying, do you have a wine bucket? Can I just get ice in a wine bucket, please? It's to ice my knee, and then I could use it for my water, because I cannot drink warm water. And you don't get little refrigerettes or whatever you call them in hotel. That's not a thing either. So I couldn't. Once we were in Scotland and staying at Airbnbs, I brought these great bottles that I could freeze, and I'd fill them with water every night, freeze them, and then carry them around the rest of the day so I'd have cold water. But anyway, Yeah, so I hurt my knee, and I figured, that's fine. I'll put my Voltaren on there for my arthritis, and I'll take some ibuprofen, and we'll be fine. We were not fine. What I learned eventually was that my knee was dislocating. So by the time he got there, I'd been through a week with strangers. And let's be clear, these women were awesome, but also that it is very hard for me to be around people all day, every single day, and be on and like masking and doing all that stuff, and then not having time to wind down at the end of the day. So I learned a lot. Well, really just backed up my limitations that I knew I had. I can do it, but I was going to suffer for it. My kids asked us to get Life 360. Like, we never asked them. It's the app where you can track where everybody is. And I never added it because I figured as long as Jeff had it, one of us had it. And he was the one picking him up places, and that's why they wanted it. So they can be like, is Dad on his way, or have we been forgotten, And he asked me to add it before I went out there because I was going to be in another country. And I was like, okay, that's reasonable. I'll add it. So anyway, like being able to look the day he was coming out after I had been in intense pain with my knee dislocated while I wandered through ruins and cities and cobbled streets and nonstop all day, every day. I was in so much pain by the end of it that like, I was just not in a good place. So being able to see him arrive like in the city on the train because we were in, Harrogate. I have the hardest time remembering the city name. Harrogate was the last place where we were staying at the like spa where Agatha Christie was discovered after her disappearance that I covered. That was the last place we stayed. The Old Swan, is it? Anyway, and seeing like his train arrive in the city, and then like I could see when he got his cab, and I'm just watching, I'm like, oh my God, my person is here. And I was so happy. Like, if you want to rekindle, do something like that. Go get hurt and not have your comfort person with you. So that was like, I was like, oh my God, he's here. Tracking him on Life 360. But yeah, I got to see a lot of ruins, and I love me a ruin. Oh my God. I love a homestead. Like, I don't know. There's something about some place that's dead, apparently, that I just love. I got to see amazing kirkyards, which are the graveyards at the old churches, the roods and stuff like that. And 5 billion things that I cannot relate on here. Yes. But yes, it was amazing. And then I got home and went to urgent care.
Oh, God.
And all the doctors are fascinated. They keep asking me, like, everybody would have to see. So since then, I've been diagnosed with hypermobile spectrum disorder, which is Ehlers-Danlos light. And they're always like, did you go to the, like, what did you go to the hospital there? What was it like? And I was like, I did not go to the hospital there. First of all, that first week I was with a bunch of strangers. I didn't have my own vehicle. We were traveling somewhere different every single day. We had an itinerary. I did not go never to anywhere medical. So I cannot tell it because they really want to know. They were like, because one was like, oh man, I wanted to know, like, did it cost anything? And like, it was the doctors asking. So yeah. But I did that. And I did Mesa Literary Festival.
After.
Yeah, in July.
And then last weekend you had a book signing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. At the crematorium, which was awesome.
I was going to say, how did that go? Because if I'd been in town, I would have gone.
Yeah, no, it was such a neat place. So it's set. It's in this place. It was basically like a warehouse space in the back, and that's the crematorium, and they do events out of there. And then, but it's connected to Screamin' Sugar, which is like a horror themed cafe.
Why have I never heard of this?
How have I never? I wouldn't have if it wasn't for Christina, who, by the way, was a guest on here before, Bergling, who set this up for her book release. And oh man, now I don't remember what the book is, or I'd say it, but she has a new book out, so check it out. And so there was that, and you go in there, they have got like all the paintings and all this horror stuff everywhere, and Chucky and the girl doll at the front desk, and themed drinks and everything.
Wow.
And they've got a movie playing on the screen, so there's always a horror movie playing. And then connected to them is a horror shop called Horrid, which just has horror stuff.
Okay.
Horror-themed stuff. They even had Joe Bob Briggs stuff, which is crazy to me. I usually don't see stuff for him. And that was awesome. So I went in there and spent some money. I spent more than I made. Let's be honest here. But I also met like some new awesome people. Good. That was nice.
Was there a nice turnout?
Yeah, because all the people that were going to the horror thing were like, oh, there's an event back here. And so they kind of meandered out there. So
well, that's good.
Yeah, it was okay. Sightings are never that
no
busy unless you've got some huge name, but I sold some books. I sold almost one of each book. So,
and she was good about getting the word out, about posting things about it. So
yeah.
I was hoping it would turn out well.
Yeah. I think she sold out her copies of her new book.
Oh, so, that's very nice.
Yeah. So that was nice. And it's been busy. And I don't have anything else until October when I'm Toastmaster at Mile High Con, right? And then I'm doing a Right Brain in November. And then I'm done for a while, unless I don't turn shit down.
Well,
I should.
But the really exciting part about Shannon being the Toastmaster at Mile High Con is that she found out it's tradition to have a biography, a bio written by someone else. So she has asked myself and Patrick Hester to write her bio for her. We are delighted to do so. We did ask, does any of it have to be truthful?
I guess if she comes back and says there needs to be something real in here, I'll add like a sentence.
Okay. We might put something real in there.
Real.
We'll get your name right. I mean,
well, that's good. That's important. I did like how they've added, Mega's made sure when putting out the stuff, it says Toastmaster and author cast.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
That's very nice.
It was very nice. So technically she doesn't have to do that. Yes. And I've put in my resignation at one job and I took another job to replace that job. So I've been working both jobs. And so I'm looking forward to being done with that.
Yes.
I'm just very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready to move on from that. All right. We ready to start? Anything else you want to cover?
Armillary Brewing Company is going to be opening up probably at the end of September.
Yeah, okay. Our friends.
So yes, and I'm helping him out and doing some social media for them.
Okay.
So yes, highly recommend.
Where's that opening?
It's in the Old Farm neighborhood.
Where's that?
Austin Bluff. No. Well, shit. If you hadn't, it's near my friend Gretchen's house. That's helpful.
Our Old Farm neighborhood isn't the one off like Woodman. It's somewhere out there.
No,
Everything was Old Farm here. I'm confused.
It's you're thinking
anyway. I'm thinking where the dairy farm was out on Woodman, like when it spins off.
Yes, not there.
Okay. But somewhere else.
But if you look up Armillary, there's only one Armillary Brewing Company to my knowledge. So
got you. Okay. All right. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
We'll call this segment In a Parent's Hands.
Ooh. I don't have a good name for my segment. I'll come up with something.
I usually don't say it. But like it's trained into me to have a title, right? Like you gotta eventually title it.
Usually do, but
yeah. I know. Okay. On March 6, 1981, a woman sat in a West German courtroom staring up at the monster on trial where he sat, his back to her. In her pocket, she held a Beretta 70 .22 caliber gun. That woman was Marianne Bachmeier. Marianne had been born June 3rd, 1950 in Lower Saxony, West Germany. Her father had been a Waffen-SS officer.
Ooh.
And they had fled to Germany from East Prussia after World War II. He was not a kind father, derp, and he had a habit of drinking to the point of aggression. Eventually, her parents got a divorce, but her stepfather wasn't any better. She called him a dictator. At 9 years old, she was sexually assaulted by a local salesman. Marianne started acting out, and her mother kicked her out at a young age. I could not find what age she was kicked out by. What I do know is she got pregnant at 16.
Oh.
And she was kicked out by then. Then again at 18, putting both children up for adoption at birth. While she was pregnant the second time, she was raped. So this is her background.
Jesus, that's a rough...
When she was 22 and working at a pub called Tipasa, she got pregnant again by a manager there. They actually had a relationship, just to be clear, since of her because of her past. Anna was born on November 14th, 1972. This time, Marianne decided to keep the child and raise her as a single mom. I don't know why he wasn't involved, because they worked together at this place, but she was a single mom and he was not helping with anything.
Okay.
So without that help, she would just keep Anna at the pub with her, and the little girl grew up there. Often Marianne stayed after her shifts, keeping Anna there too, and was known to party a bit. Anna was described as happy and vibrant, but also acting like a tiny adult. By the time she was 7, she was staying home to take care of herself much of the time. She'd visit a neighbor, 35-year-old Klaus Grabowski. He was a butcher and had several cats that Anna liked to play with. On May 5th, 1980, Anna and Marianne got into a fight. Angry, Anna decided to skip school. Again, she's 7. Instead, heading over to Grabowski's house, but this time she didn't come home. And eventually, after her disappearance was reported, Grabowski's fiance went to the police and said that he had confessed he had killed Anna and led them to that body. She'd been packed into a box and left by a canal. Grabowski had sexually assaulted her, then strangled her with the fiance's pantyhose. He claimed that the 7-year-old had been trying to seduce him. Do I need to repeat that sentence again? No. He claimed that the 7-year-old had been trying to seduce him and that she was extorting him into paying her so she wouldn't claim to her mother that she'd been molested by him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
He also at one point later said, I never touched her, I just stroked her. And I'm like, what the?
Oh, God.
What Marianne and Anna hadn't known was that Grabowski had previously been convicted for sexually assaulting several young kids, 3 girls and 1 boy, over time, spending time in and out of psychiatric hospitals, because that's how they treated it at the time.
Yeah.
He had voluntarily allowed himself to be chemically castrated as a way to lighten a prison sentence he'd received for 2 of the girls. Upon his release, he had sought out hormone treatments, telling the doctor he'd gotten the chemical castration after being wrongly convicted of exhibitionism, which allowed him to regain his libido. So he got the chemical castration, and he was able to kind of reverse it.
Yay!
He told police he couldn't go back to prison, so he had to kill her. His attorneys said he'd acted rashly due to a hormonal imbalance caused by the hormone treatments he'd used to get his libido back. That's their defense.
No bullshit.
Back to March 6, 1981, nearly a year after her daughter's murder. At right around 10 a.m., Marianne walked up, pulled the gun from her pocket, and fired 7 times, hitting Grabowski in the back and head 6 times and killing him. Then she put the gun down and let the court officials take her into custody. Those around her said they'd heard her call him a pig. A case that had been previously overlooked by the papers suddenly blasted out to the international news. Nobody cares about rape and murder of a child, but a vigilante killing tends to be big news. Marianne was able to sell her story to Stern, a German magazine, for 100,000 Deutschmarks and use that money to pay her attorney and legal costs. While public sentiment was mostly in her favor, it never will always be, news of her parenting decisions got out, causing doubt as to whether she was really a good innocent mom doing what she had to do. Friends told how she'd kept the girl at the bar and then started leaving her home at her young age. They said she'd been aware that this life was problematic for her daughter and had been talking about putting her up for adoption like her previous children. Still, sentiment remained mostly in her favor. A survey conducted by the Allensbach Institute at the time showed 28% of... Oops. Hold on. I'm going to skip that and come back to it. Actually. Just as with the confusion in public sentiment, the court was unsure whether she should be charged with murder or manslaughter. How premeditated had this been? They started out with a charge of murder, but the prosecution actually ended up dropping it and pursuing manslaughter instead. I'm imagining they were feeling that public sentiment and knew they weren't going to get the murder they wanted. And she was found guilty on March 2nd, 1983. She was also guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm. A survey, here it is, conducted by the Allensbach Institute at the time showed 28% of people felt her sentence was fair. 27% thought it was too heavy. 25% thought it was too light. So that really shows how mixed public perceptions, like a third split plus a little extra because it doesn't add to 100. After her release, she married a teacher and they moved to Lagos, Nigeria, where her husband taught German. She didn't want to have anything to do with Lübeck, where the crimes had occurred, but she was also done with Germany in general. They divorced after 5 years, right? It was not a good place for her. They divorced after 5 years and she moved to Sicily and became a hospice aide to support herself. She was soon diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and returned to Germany, which was now a united country. When she was there, she was in West Germany, where she granted various interviews and made television appearances about what had happened. She admitted that she had decided ahead of time to kill him because she didn't want him telling lies about her baby girl anymore. I mean, he was calling her a seductress at 7. In a documentary, one of her friends claimed that Marianne had practiced shooting in the basement of the pub beforehand. And I was like, you know what? You're a good friend for keeping that quiet. Because the other one's talking about her partying or whatever. I was like, you're shit friends. Mm-hmm. At no point did she express remorse, and which was noted in articles. And I was like, nor should she have.
No.
Fuck that.
I wouldn't.
Marianne died on September 17th, 1996. She was 46 years old. She and Anna are buried together in Bergtor Cemetery. But it's not just moms who've enacted vengeance after someone hurt their child. In fact, this crime occurred around the same time as Anna's, but on another continent. Ours.
Oh, do tell us more.
Jody Plauché lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and attended 5th grade at Mayfair Elementary. It was 1982 when flyers for karate lessons were handed out at school. He had no interest, but his little brother Mike came home with the same flyer and excitedly asked if they could do karate. Their mom signed up all 3 of her boys, including Bubba, who was the older brother.
How old was Bubba?
I don't know. Like, these weren't big enough stories for me to get the usual details from them.
But the one
he does have a autobiography, though.
The one who was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And so Bubba was older, so...
Yeah. I don't think a ton older, though. Okay. They seemed pretty close in age in, like, pictures, a few years. The teacher's name was Jeff Doucette, and the family soon became close with him, even inviting him to their house for game nights and dinners. In Jody's own words, in a People article, I think what first started was when we would be stretching at karate class because you got to get in the splits and, quote, here, let me help you. We'd put our feet on cardboard and we'd do a split. Now he's like, feel how you're tight right here? And it was that kind of him normalizing putting his hands between my legs, but not touching my private parts. But he's touching my inner thighs, which is close to my private parts. So I think that was his first kind of trick to normalize that. It didn't take long for that to change. Doucette started handing money to the other 2 boys and sending them to the store to get drinks and snacks. The store was far enough away that this would get him about 15 to 20 minutes alone with Jody to molest him. Jody didn't tell anyone, but on February 14th, 1984, Doucette actually kidnapped 12-year-old Jody to take him to Disneyland. The Plauchés called the cops and a nationwide manhunt ensued. At one point, Doucette let Jody place a collect call home, which allowed the police to track him down in an Anaheim motel on February 19th. So 5 days in. They broke down the door and took the man into custody. Tests were conducted and police determined that, yes, Jody had been sexually assaulted. Police extradited Doucette back to Baton Rouge, but when they landed at the airport at about 9:30 p.m., Gary Plauché, Jody's dad, was waiting at the airport, wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses. Careful to keep his back turned so no one would see him, he used a payphone to call a friend. The last thing his friend heard from him was, "You're going to hear the shot." And he did almost immediately afterward. When Gary, using the camera lights to track, he watched the wall. And he watched because they had the camera set up. He could see the lights coming toward him, and he knew when they were behind him because the lights were directly on him. Turned and shot him directly in the head.
Wow.
Like point blank, bam. TV cameras were at the airport for Doucette's arrival, like I said. And in fact, it was a reporter who would let Gary know when Doucette was supposed to land at the airport. Oh. The entire thing was caught on camera. You can watch it on YouTube. I won't share it. Gary shot Doucette with a .38 snub-nose revolver as the man walked by. One of the cops said, "Why, Gary, why?" Another asked, "Why in the hell would you do something like this?" And I believe Jody's autobiography is called Why, Gary, Why? Mm-hmm. He responded, "If he'd have done that to your family, you would have done the same thing too. You don't know." Gary was 38 years old when he shot his son's rapist. He was an equipment salesman who had been a sergeant in the Air Force. His wife, who he was separated from at the time, told him he was going to hell for it when she visited him in jail, and he said he didn't care. Doucette went into a coma and died the next day, so he did not instantly die. Gary was charged with second-degree murder, but came to be known as a hero by the public. A therapist said he was in a psychotic state and did not know right from wrong when he committed the crime. He pled no contest instead to manslaughter and got a 7-year suspended sentence with probation for 5 years along with community service. This he did at a Catholic church doing maintenance for his 300 hours. The judge did not feel there was a chance he'd kill anyone else and felt him going to prison wouldn't help anyone. And I agree.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to go shoot other people.
No.
He was not.
No.
They later found out Doucette had molested other children.
Well,
he knew how to do it. He knew how to groom.
Yes.
He knew how to. Yep. Exactly. In this case, Jody was alive and he was confused. He liked Doucette, who he said had worked hard to earn his trust. He did want him to stop, but he didn't want him to be murdered. So he refused to speak to his dad for a while. Like, it was rough.
I can understand that that would fuck with
this.
A child's
He said
head.
This was a mentor, and it was very confusing. It took a few months, but he did ultimately forgive his dad. He said they never really talked about it, but they had a brief conversation one time where Jody said he forgave him and understood why he did it. He's now an advocate for child abuse victims, telling his story, making sure they know they can move on and not let it control their lives. He was on the board of Men Against Violence in college and worked as a sexual assault counselor at the Victim Services Center of Montgomery County. He has since said what a great dad he had. He's come around. He understands what he did for him. And I will say, Gary Plauché, the dad, did say eventually he said he shouldn't. He said, I wouldn't recommend doing what I did. I shouldn't have done that. It didn't make it better for my son. And so to put that out there. Gary Plauché died after multiple strokes at the age of 68. And my sources are Wikipedia, Der Spiegel, All That's Interesting, People, ABC News, and The Guardian. I can't fault either one.
No, I can't. I don't blame them. I can't find fault with what they did. I mean, I can't advocate for it.
Right. I'm not saying, hey, run out. And
run out. And this is the thing to do. But at the same time, what person can't understand what they did?
Well, and like Gary Plauché, he was interviewed on the news at one point, and they said basically he was kind of like glassy-eyed right after. And he kept saying, I feel helpless. I don't know what to do. I mean, that basically helped set like his state of mind when they went to it later, like how out of it and kind of.
Well, just imagine, and you like this person, you think they're a good person,
You've
and you
brought
can
them into the family and exposed your children,
and you think you're doing a nice, good thing for your children, teaching them how to defend themselves,
right?
Good God.
Yeah. In more ways than one, ultimately. I guess he did learn how to do that. But like, it's nice. The first girl didn't have a chance to do anything about it. Ugh. But he got to grow up and use that as something. So that was me trying to end on a lighter note.
Yes, because that's what we're known for, is our lighter notes.
Yes, exactly.
So the reason I did the piece I'm about to do is because I kind of felt like I was in the middle of the muck. Mm-hmm. And you know how sometimes, and it doesn't even matter if realistically, if anybody else can see it or not, sometimes you're just feeling it. And sometimes you need to take a breath. You need to have a bright spot, or you at least need to have a spot that's less mucky. So that's the moment I was having when I sat down to do this. And I just thought, I'm tired of carrying other people's muck around. So it's not my therapy session, and I get that. So I'm going to take my head out of my ass and I'm going to give you the bright spot. But first I have to give you the dirt. And this is the muckiest of muck. So a lot of people have heard of the mother and baby homes in Ireland. Mm-hmm. They were also in other countries, but for whatever reason.
Anywhere the church is.
Exactly. So I'm going to be talking about institutions that were called the Magdalen Laundries, which were initially founded in the mid-1700s in several countries, but we're going to be focusing on Ireland. So I wanted to hate this woman, and then I found somebody talking specifically about her, because I always start on Wikipedia and then to get the overall gist of the thing.
Because it tends to have it all organized in one place, whereas everything else you're looking at is articles that focused on one thing or another.
Aspect. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
So Lady Arabella Fitzmaurice Denny was born in 1707 in County Kerry, and seems to have been a really very philanthropic by nature her whole life. So as a teen, she ran a medical dispensary for the tenants on her father's estate. She married, there was a really interesting mention. I didn't even write it down. I should have. She married a neighbor who I think was a bit older than she was, not like tons, and she had a problem with her brother-in-law, with her husband's brother, which apparently he did not want her to learn how to shoot and how to handle a gun.
Okay.
And so when she learned and began to demonstrate how good a shot she was, he backed away. And I'm like, okay. But that was like one reference, and I couldn't find anything else on that. So after she was widowed, after her husband died, and they weren't married a long time, and she never had any children of her own. But she supported the Dublin Founding Hospital, which cared for abandoned children. Okay, so that was the first thing I read, and I found that in a couple different places. She supported, that's in air quotes in case you couldn't hear them, this foundling hospital. What she actually did was badger the city to having this hospital inspected regularly, because to combat the high mortality rate of the infants that were there. She worked as one of the inspectors. She ended up running the hospital, recruiting and training nurses on how to care for not just infants, but kind of fragile infants who weren't born in the best of circumstances. So she was not just a rich woman writing checks. She was actually trying to do the work she believed in. She was instrumental in introducing lace making into workhouses, because she believed women needed a skill to support themselves when they got out. To her, the whole idea of going into this place was you were at the bottom, and to get a leg up, you needed a way to support yourself. Now, I know that there's some negatives associated with the whole lace making in these places, but this was at the beginning. It had a good intention, regardless of how it turned out later. She met people. She networked. She opened the Magdalen Asylum for Protestant girls in mid-1767.
God.
The look on your face. So this was a home for fallen women or penitent prostitutes, which means prostitutes showing regret.
Of course.
Who would work in exchange for accommodation, clothing, food, and religious instruction. Because I know
workhouses were huge.
Yes, if you're starving, that's the one thing you're hoping for is religious instruction. The women would spend between 18 months and 2 years in the asylum, and back then asylum was not associated with the mentally ill. I mean, it could be, but it wasn't the way we use asylum now. They were only allowed to leave if they had a position to go to, or they were permitted to return home if they had family that would take them in. It was the first institution of its kind in Ireland. It became a model for institutions throughout the country. The stated purpose was of delivering them from shame, from reproach, from disease, from want, from the base society that had either drawn them into vice or prevailed upon them to continue it, to the utmost hazard of their eternal happiness.
Ooh. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's a mouthful. That particular one, this was the first one that was in Ireland. It didn't close until 1994. And it was the longest operating of its kind in Ireland.
That's like when you find out when the Indian schools, residential schools here, how long they were open.
Here
like nobody realizes how far into recent history this was happening. They all see it as this thing of the past, and it's not.
Yeah, 1994 was not that long ago.
I graduated high school like 2 years after that.
Shut up. So, never one to let the Protestants get, the upper hand. Catholics began operating Magdalen laundries as well, so named because the women were required to work in laundries to earn their keep, which on the surface does not sound like necessarily a bad thing. They've got work to do. They're off the streets, blah, blah, blah. While the fallen women at these laundries were primarily prostitutes in the 1700s, by the 1800s, their populations included rape and abuse victims, orphans, those abandoned by their families, those who refused to fit nicely into society's standards, as well as the mentally ill. So I'm thinking I would have had no chance.
There.
I'm like, the Magdalen asylums failed to dismally to curb prostitution in any meaningful way.
Well, of course.
But that was the whole point, was that they were going to rescue these prostitutes and cut prostitution. But they were not addressing the people who were buying those services, or why this was why this was a valid way for women to earn money. One of the only ways they had of earning money. No. We won't address that. We'll save their souls. So not only did they not curb prostitution, they were dandy instruments of suppression, because why pay wages? These women got nothing for their work. It was free labor just waiting to be exploited.
Uh-huh.
So Magdalen laundries became part of Ireland's larger system for the control of children and women. Both women and bastard children were incarcerated for transgressing the narrow moral code of the time. And the same religious congregations managed the orphanages, reformatory schools, and the laundries. Thus, the facilities all helped sustain each other. Girls from the reformatory and industrial schools often ended up working their entire lives in the Magdalen laundries. So it's like a snake eating its tail. Yeah. That's the whole image. If you were single and a mother, you were automatically a criminal because you were single and a mother. And it didn't matter how you got there. It didn't matter if you had fallen in love and been abandoned, if you had been raped and abused, if you were a prostitute. It didn't matter how you got there.
It still doesn't.
Yeah. So your child was taken away from you and sent to the orphanage, and you went to the laundry. So as the network of these institutions grew, the need for unpaid labor to support them also grew. And the treatment of women in the laundries just got continuously worse and worse. The violent punishments were cruel. They were often kept secret. They were abusive. And you have to remember, most of these women had committed no crimes. They were never given a trial of any sort. It was just, boop, picked up and put down there. The sentences often didn't end until they died. And into the this just gave me a chill. Into the 1970s, the women were referred to as children and were required to address all staff members as mother, regardless of the age of either party.
That makes me feel dark things.
Yeah, a little ill, a little like vomiting.
Rage.
Yeah.
Just rage.
The women were often forced to work in silence and not allowed to socialize and talk to each other, which is, for women, I'm making a sweeping generalization. I get that. But that's how women cope. They share stories. You talk to other people, and it doesn't matter if it's not even necessarily complaining about what's going on, but you share your history. You share your story. You share your dreams. But they weren't allowed to. That simple act was denied them. There were enforced prayers. Women were told over and over, and it was the psychological stuff that was really the most heinous. They were told over and over again that they weren't loved, they weren't worth anything, nobody wanted them, and their families had abandoned them.
Yep.
So
that's how they brainwash and control.
Yep. So, some people have postulated that the changing or loosening of society's sexual mores was what contributed to the eventual downfall of these laundries, along with the weakening of the Catholic Church's dominance and people straying away from the church. Others, however, go, oh, no. It was the popularity and availability of the washing machine that simply made these large laundries no longer profitable. I know which one I believe. I'm like, if there's no profit in it, they're not going to run it.
Right.
And I probably am going to say this twice. There were, because I'll come upon it later, but there were actual commercial laundries that went out of business because they couldn't compete, because they had to pay. They had to pay wages to their employees. So this is all, I've painted a pretty grim picture already.
And if you think about that too, though, like that is one of the jobs women could do on their own if they were alone or whatever. Anyway, their husband died, whatever, they would do the laundry. So then they were also putting all of these other women out and probably then getting some of them in there to do it through them instead of having their own little washerwoman business or whatever you want to call it. So they were disenfranchising. Any woman who needed to make money, because that was one of the very few cleaning, laundry,
seamstress,
nanny. There's only so many things that they could do.
Yes. If you aren't allowed any access to education or broader ideas.
Well, because they didn't want women to be employed in the first place in that way, like in anything meaningful.
Yes, so. You can't be employed, but neither can you be poor.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's really another really sad aspect of this is that vital information about the women's circumstances, even the number of women and the consequences of their incarceration, are unknown, even now. We have no, one of the, and I didn't get her first name and I'm kicking myself, but one of the people who studied this history said, we have no official history for the Magdalen Asylum in 20th century Ireland. Due to the Religious Institute's policy of secrecy, their penitent registers and convent annals remain closed to this day, despite repeated requests for information. So because of the missing records and their commitment to secrecy, it exists as a story as opposed to history. The last Magdalen Asylum imprisoned women until 1996, and there are no records to account for almost 100 years of women who were just disappeared. They didn't matter. There's also, related to this, it's not the exact same, but related to this are the mother and baby homes. And I know we've talked about those as well.
Yeah.
Where, and again, run by the Catholic Church, where if you were poor or a victim, mothers went and they were separated from their babies. It's not.
And all the dead babies they found buried.
Oh my God, yes. But they would also, after they separated the mothers and babies, they would adopt the babies out to whoever could afford to pay for them.
Purpose.
And a lot of them were adoptions, not all of them, but but here's the thing. If as a mother, if you went through one of these homes and you wrote to the home, you were now married and established and respectable, and you wrote to the home and said, can you give me any information about my child? They would either say the child died or the child has requested no contact. Same thing if the child wrote and said, I believe this is where I was born. Can you tell me anything about my mother? They would either say she's dead or she requested no. And it was a lie. Yeah. It was an absolute lie. I have a friend who is a product of that and went through that. So there was one of these asylums where they did discover over 150 bodies in an unmarked mass grave. There have been other mass graves that were at least somewhat documented that the church has refused to allow families to come in and take the remains of their family member to bury it in a family plot or a family cemetery.
Yeah. Sounds about white.
Yeah. The Irish government refused into the 2000s to investigate these women's claims. They wouldn't even consider it for a minute. The Catholic Church itself refuses to accept any blame, claiming they were providing a service to their country and to these poor women. Like nuns have gone on interview shows and said, just been outraged because we were providing a service. We were doing the best we could for these women. And I'm like,
you weren't.
Really? The physical abuse? Tell me how that benefited them again.
Emotional abuse and
no. So this enormous shit show has been talked about publicly for the last couple of decades, but I'm going to narrow the focus now, and we're going to look at the Magdalen Home Laundry located in Galway, Ireland. So in 1963, Ina McKenty, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, took a job at that laundry because they did, despite all this free labor, they did need to fill some additional, so they hired local people. She was appalled by the conditions she found and by the stories that the women she worked with were telling her about their lives, about their living conditions, and she would go home at night and tell her husband and her 3 sons what she was seeing. So her 2 teenage, and they were young teenage, they were like 13 and 15. Her sons, Andy and Hugo, came up with a plan. There's nothing more idealistic than the teenager. And in this case, bless their hearts, in the good way. So up until that time, young women who tried to escape on their own were frequently caught by authorities and just returned to the laundry. If the local, gendarmes caught them, they took them right back. So Ina's husband, Hugh, drove a van to a spot near the laundry. Ina, who was working on the inside, opened a door. Andy and Hugo would meet the girls, run them down, grab their hands, run them down the alley to the waiting van. And the youngest son, Declan, was in the back of the van and would open the doors and swoop them in as soon as he saw them. And in an interview years later, Andy said he said, I thought I knew what fear was. I didn't know what scared was until I saw the looks on these girls. And apparently they came out and they would just freeze because they didn't know what to do. And they thought they were breaking the law, helping these girls. It turns out they were not, because there was no legal
right. They
precedent.
hadn't actually been sentenced to anything. Or
so the first time the door opened, 4 girls came out, terrified, and they each grabbed 2 girls by the hand, ran them down the alley, popped them in the van. They filled the van with 15 girls, piled them in. They fled to the family's home, where the girls hid for several days. It said something about making pots of tea, and I was like, yes, because they're in Ireland, so they have to have tea. During this time, though, Hugh, the dad, helped the girls reach out to friends and relatives to make plans for them to reconnect. Because they wanted to help these girls, but they didn't just want to turn them loose with no support. Right. So Hugh worked on a plan, and he also paid for their tickets. When they were sure it was safe, he drove them to a train station after dark, put them on a train, to a boat, to a train to London. Because you have to... Yes. There's water. You have to have a boat in there somewhere. So it was 15 girls all at once gone. So the nuns eventually figured out that so many girls escaping at once had to be an inside job. And they realized that Ina had to be the culprit. Oh. So but here's what happened to her. She got an envelope with her last wages and a letter saying her services were no longer required. Okay. And the family celebrated. She went down to the pub and brought her husband back a pint of Guinness to celebrate. Because they were just, the whole family's attitude was, fuck you. Yeah. And this delights me. So I do want to note that from this facility, another young woman escaped in 1951. During Christmas, there was an epic storm. They called it a deluge. Over Christmas, and she climbed in the fucking torrential rain. She climbed over the roof to get out. There was also another mass escape sometime later in the 60s when workmen replacing some windows left their ladders in place while they were taking a break. An estimated 30 women made a break for it, and while the police did bring some back, some made it to freedom, and several were assisted by the locals in Galway. And one woman described it, she's like, skirts and aprons flying. They just were like shooting out the window and down the ladders. So it just makes me happy that they still, even after being there for so long, they still had the ability to run, because some people don't, and that's not on them. If you're broken, I get that, but it makes me happy that some still could. So, and one of the reasons I thought this was an especially important story to tell here and now is that when people in authority are behaving like greedy, all-powerful gods, and people can't begin to contemplate challenging the powers that be, it just takes a small act of compassion toward your fellow human beings to make a difference. So the McEntee family didn't wake up one morning and say, we're going to change the world. They looked around and thought, how can we make it better for somebody? How can we make it better for a small number? How can we make it better for anybody? So, yeah.
Those are still lives that they saved. And especially when we're living in a place that's trying to fully embrace eugenics and all of that again.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend who reached out to me recently, and I won't say her name. She has to go to the IRS office. Mm-hmm. The IRS is guarded by Homeland Security. And she is not as lily white as I am. And she wanted to know if I could just go with her so I could use my camera on my phone if anything happened. Yeah. She is not an illegal. Mm-hmm. She is not here illegally. She was born here. Mm-hmm. She's but she's scared to death because, she's not lily white.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter.
No, it doesn't matter if you're indigenous.
No.
It doesn't matter as long as you're brown.
Yeah. Go back to where you came from, would you, Shannon?
Yeah, okay. I've been to Georgia. I like it. So,
My sources were, of course, Wikipedia, the Dictionary of Irish Biography, the Irish Central, True Crime, and I originally got this off my damn True Crime a Day calendar, the Irish Independent, and the Irish Times.
All right.
So, and I could talk about the mother and baby homes. There's so much, and yeah, it just is appalling.
Widespread abuse of the church. And there's so many branches of that story that
yes.
Yeah.
And it's one thing. I get so mad and then my words just tangle in my brain.
Yeah.
It's one thing for the church to come in and be rigid in their beliefs. It's another thing, but it's a whole different level of abuse when they start the torture and the psychological and the physical abuse. But also forcing
people, you can be as rigid as you want in your own beliefs. You don't get to force that on other people.
Exactly.
And just... I'm so tired right now.
Yes.
Just soul tired. But yeah, I've just been, I don't even want to live here anymore. I just don't want to do it.
Yes.
But I have kids who have to get through this. And one of them who's fully invested in the run for something and is going to be running for a seat. And yeah. They said they want young people doing something. Well,
all right.
My young people is certainly doing something.
Excellent.
But
that's excellent.
Yeah. You watch the abuses through history and then you watch them be repeated. And there's no easy way to stop it from happening, apparently, because you think that educating people on it will help, but you can't educate everybody and you can't make everybody believe what they hear and you can't make them believe that it's wrong. And
we can't even educate people to vaccinate their children against measles.
Yeah.
Like, hey, your kid doesn't have to die.
Disinformation is a real thing. Disinformation, propaganda, all of that stuff. And the problem is we've got people who have studied how to do that, but haven't studied the actual realities of history, right? They've studied the parts that they're interested in.
Yep.
And there they go. They've learned how to sow this false information and get people to fall for it and caused a lot of fear. That was how it's always been done. Look back at Nazi propaganda and then look at what you're seeing now. They're coming for your children. That's number one. That was for the Jews. That was for, they're coming for your children and they're coming for your jobs. They're coming for this and that. And honestly, they don't give a shit about you. That's not what they're doing, but okay.
So there was an article this is one of the rare days when I actually read the local rag and part of the New York Times. I think it had to have been in the New York Times. Who am I kidding? But it was this, meatpacking plant, and ICE just came in and took 3/4 of their workforce. So they've got orders piling up. Now it did not talk about waste, but I have to imagine, because it was a surprise raid, so I have to imagine that things went bad and had to be disposed of because they couldn't be processed.
I don't know. We're lightening those rules too, so or everybody's just going to get sick.
But what struck me was the owner of the factory said, he has asked the people in authority, okay, I understand. You told me I should use this system, and I can't remember the name of it, to verify people's ID. You're not verifying that they're a U.S. citizen. You're verifying that they are who they say they are and that their identification is legitimate. They are this person. He said, you told me to use your system. I'm using your system. And now you're saying people are slipping through the cracks. And they're like, yep. They're like, you have to keep using the system, but it's broken and it won't always work. And we will hold you accountable when it doesn't work, even though you did what you thought was your due diligence.
Yeah.
So the guy has, I don't know how many jobs open. He has like 75 jobs open and 3 people showed up to apply.
Right. I don't see how this could become a problem at all.
No,
just the common sense, the economic lack of reality, that like all of it all together is overwhelming to think about. So,
yep.
Good times. Good time.
And this was the cheerful one.
I know.
And then, nope, I can find a way to bring anything down.
It's little about history and current events that are cheerful. But that's why I was like, we've been sitting here and we're like, why aren't there more comedies coming out? Like, there are two ways to cope, and that's horror and comedy.
Yeah.
And so I really need somebody to put out some more comedies right now.
Or horror comedies. I'll take those.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you said more comedies.
Oh, no, horror
No,
comedies.
horror comedies. Yes, let's have them.
But it just comedies in general. I need me another lewd female. That's what I thought Hunting Wives was going to be, is like a bridesmaid style.
Yes.
In a pro.
We need another
like,
bridesmaids.
Where's that? I don't need another fucking superhero. There are no superheroes. It's been proven to us. There are no fucking superheroes, and I don't want to watch any superhero movies. It doesn't help me. It doesn't make me feel hopeful. It makes me want to throat punch people.
Yeah,
I really have an urge, and somebody's going to get throat punched. And until I throat punch somebody, I'm not going to feel any better.
I'm sliding my chair back.
Yeah. So no, I'm done. I've been done with superhero movies. Fuck superhero movies. I'm so bored with them.
I did go see Superman. I haven't seen any of the Superman movies since it was Christopher Reeves.
Oh wow.
I skipped everything. As much as I adore Henry Cavill, I didn't even go see any of those because for me, DC movies have always been very dark and depressing. And I can do that. I got that on my own.
I did hear this one is more hopeful and positive and that kind of.
It is funnier.
Christopher Reeve Superman.
So two things. Nathan Fillion is in it, and he's got the goobiest fucking haircut ever. Okay. Which is hilarious. So he does do an excellent job of playing a goob. I mean, he's a very good actor. He can play anything. But there's this kind of feckless goober that he just does so well. And I've heard people talking about the dog in the movie.
Oh.
There's a super dog in the movie. And that really, I like the dog. The comedic portion of that was good, except anybody who has a dog is going to get the heebie-jeebies because it's so obvious this dog, I mean, I know. No, not that it's fake, has never been trained. Oh. Has never had any discipline, is allowed to do whatever it wants and run roughshod. It just is, if you have dogs, you're like, oh my God, what is wrong with these people?
Just makes me think of Dave Barry's Adventure Dog. I did that as a monologue once for one of my monologue things we were.
Oh.
All I remember is Adventure Dog. Kind of big, kind of dumb, stupid, or kind of big. Yeah, kind of dumb, stupid as a log. Something like that.
I don't know.
I did it in middle school, so really, honestly, don't quote me. But it's something like that. I just remember the tune of it, right? But I did that as a monologue.
Lovely. I like that.
Dave Barry's monologue. I think I did a couple of his as monologues. I was like, you want me to do monologue? I'm going to have fun with it.
And I will possibly see the Fantastic Four.
I will possibly watch Superman and Fantastic Four when they come to streaming.
Because Pedro Pascal.
See, even that, I'm seriously well and truly done with superhero movies. They've saturated the fucking market.
They did.
And I can't do it. I don't think I can sit still long enough to even try it, even if they said it was magical. I didn't even want, what was it? Which movie was it where they brought all the old Batmans? Like this close to watching that one because Michael Keaton is my Batman.
Oh, yes.
Still didn't do it. So if I didn't come out for Michael Keaton Batman, I'm not going to be out for whatever.
I don't blame you. I'm done with, I think I am done with Batman. I'm like, they're not telling us anything. They're not doing anything new with it.
No. I'm looking forward to Mr. Nobody, the sequel to Mr. Nobody or Nobody or whatever it is, because I really liked the first one. And I think that comes out in like the next week, or it's out now or something, actually. And then the new Naked Gun, which I know everybody's like, I'm not going to go see it. And Leslie Nielsen is the only Naked Gun for me. But it looks funny and I'm going to go see it. And also, when has Liam Neeson gotten to be like funny and goofy? And he's playing it straight, though.
Yes.
Like, he's taking it seriously because that's how you got to play that role, right?
Yes.
But I've been enjoying the shipping happening between Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson, even though probably it's largely contrived. But whatever, we can hope.
Yes.
I usually don't even give a shit about shipping people. But this is cute and wholesome, and I'm here for it.
I saw the previews, and I can't decide if I want to see that one or not, because the previews made the humor look like it was all going to be fart jokes or dick jokes.
Yeah. Which is not my thing, but that's how badly I need a new comedy right now.
I get you.
Is that I'm like, I am looking forward to seeing something that right now I would normally roll my eyes at and not see.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
I watched a good chunk of Buffy reruns the other night. That is sometimes that's just, I feel like watching a little Buffy, but sometimes it's like the world sucks. I need Buffy.
Right? I started watching Dead Like Me again, which was a fun show. And then I was thinking of just trying Supernatural, and this time trying to make it all the way through, even though I hate the stupid religious themes that they fell into instead of Monster of the Week. But I didn't finish it, and I keep hearing references to stuff, and I'm like, what? So maybe I should. I invested a lot of years into that show to not finish it because it pissed me off. But I also hated the last season of X-Files, and I wouldn't even watch that one again ever. The one without David Duchovny.
Yeah, that was
like, why are you still going without fucking Mulder? Are you kidding me?
And it was one thing if he had just been gone for a little bit, we can work with that. But no. It did. I didn't enjoy the last season. I would record it. And then I would watch it so I could fast forward through it.
Right.
Or I would be doing something, some work, whatever.
Right. I have a list of shows that I'm like, I should just go back and rewatch these. That's what I'm going to do. It's summer.
There's nothing worth watching on.
No.
I know somebody out there is going, oh, they don't know about. Tell us, what do we not know about? What should we be watching? It doesn't have to be a new show. It could be, obviously, I'm watching True Blood.
I don't want drama.
I watched, actually, True Blood has now become funny to me because I'm just like, who's going to have sex next?
Right. That's the thing. Like,
and what angle will they have it from? So
it tripped over its own dick. So just.
Yes. I started watching Castle. I think I told you I was watching Castle, which I didn't watch while it was current. So once the two main characters get together, it gets kind of boring. So I'm complaining about it to Patrick. And then I sent him this expletive-ridden email that starts with fuck me, because I didn't realize there were 8 seasons of Castle. I thought there were only 7. So I got to the end of the 7th season and it said next episode, and I clicked and I watched like the first, and I went, no, I can't. So I said to him, in my mind, there are only 7 seasons of Castle.
What? So my husband started watching Outlander, which is hysterical because he got sucked in. He just like auto something, and then you do though because it's compelling. Yeah. Like I don't. Everybody talk. That was one of the ones I was like, I don't give a shit. When everybody was talking, you have to read this. It's the best thing. I remember going to a writing conference, and everybody was like, my book is like Outlander. Like everybody you asked, they were like, yes, it's in the same neighborhood as Outlander. And I was like, dude, they're not going to buy all these. Stop it.
No.
But anyway, so it was just such saturation. That was one of the things that I avoided forever. And then like I read some of them. I think I got irritated after the one set in America with the Native American stuff and went, fuck this. Yep. And I was done reading them after that. But I made it past that on the TV series because they had actual Indigenous actors, at least. So there was that. And, but I don't even remember, something in the book pissed me the fuck off. And I was like, you did all this fucking research on Scotland. You couldn't be bothered to do the same level of research on the people in this country.
And she's an American.
Yes.
I mean, she was here. She didn't have to go anywhere to do the research.
So the book's dead to me after that. But
I couldn't watch the series because after reading the books, and I did like the books, but after reading the books, I had such a strong image of Jamie and Claire in my head. It did not match.
Oh, yeah.
It did not match the characters that were in the TV show.
Whereas I kind of had them at the same time. So I didn't have strong.
But I mean, Jamie is always talking about Claire's fine fat ass. And
she's so skinny.
And that actress weighs about 90. Now, don't get me wrong. She's beautiful.
Yes.
With the dark hair and the fair skin. She's a beautiful actress. She's tall and slender. And I'm like, that is not what Claire looks like.
Yeah.
And the guy was not big enough to be Jamie. He was not tall enough, nor broad enough. It's kind of
like the first Reacher being Tom Cruise, right? Except for he's probably closer to Jamie's size than Tom Cruise was to Reacher's size.
Yes, that is laughable.
Yeah. But it's just cracking me up because he'll get frustrated with something and then like he's got to pause it and he's got to come say something to me about it. And he fast forwards for like all the stuff he finds dreary because so that's one thing we can't do when we watch things together is I won't let him fast forward.
Right.
And he just wants to fast forward through like all the stuff that doesn't interest, all the romantic stuff, this, that. He's like, and he fast forwards through it. So he's like, 2 days, 4 seasons in because he's fast forwarded through half of it, right?
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of sex.
He was like, there's always sex. He's like, somebody's either always having sex or being raped. And he's like, I was like, I know. I said, and they call horror authors twisted. And yet this author had quite an obsession with rape, if you ask me, because it's a very strong theme throughout a lot of it. Multiple books, multiple women and men. And there's just rape all the time. And I'm like, cool. I get that there's rape in history. Also in Indigenous history. Didn't touch on that. But Jesus Christ. At some point, this is clearly a thing for you. Okay. And that's fine. But let's just be honest. So yeah, he's like, I'm just going to fast forward through this. And then he sees something, he's indignant and he's got to come talk to me about it.
What cracks me up is there are rabid fans of both the show and the book series. And I think there's some overlap, but they're not completely contiguous. They're separate groups. And what cracks me up is that she gets mail. She gets actual fan mail from people saying things like, why you don't do this? Authors do not need this. I didn't know I liked to be spanked until I read that scene and went to my husband and said, hey. And I just went, no. No author wants to know about your sex life.
No.
Really.
She didn't ask for that.
She did not.
Oh, and the other reason he was watching is because we had been to some of the places, right? And he was like, oh my God, I recognize this place and this place. And I was like, shit, now I got to rewatch it. Because now I've been there, right? And when I was looking up places to go in Scotland, of course, ahead of time, there are so many like, take this Outlander tour. And here are all the places you can go. If you want to see, here's a road trip for 3 weeks that will take you to all the places. And, there's just an insane number of them. And we went to Culloden.
Yes.
Where the battle occurred. Mm-hmm. And they have had to rope off because there are stones there for the clans. Because after that, you were not allowed to be. The clans just weren't allowed to be anymore. Basically.
Yeah, you couldn't have the tartan.
Yes. And so there were stones to the clans that had been involved. And there is a Fraser stone, and it has been roped off. You cannot now. The other ones are just out there. You're just walking through stone. Fraser roped off. Wow. Because I just imagine. I didn't look it up, but come on. We all know because people have to touch it probably and mess with it. Somebody might have tried to steal it. Like it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I was like, wow, okay. Found it. I didn't even know it was there. I didn't know the stones were there. I just was like, I want to go. We're going to be here. Let's go to the Culloden battlefield. And it's an interesting place, and they had a nice little cafeteria. There's supposed to be Highland coos. I didn't find any of them, but I also, at that point, that was at the end of my vacation. That was like the last week, and I was like, I can only walk so far in this field. So we did not trace the entire battlefield. It's quite large. And they actually have the lines with flags. You can see where the British were and where the English were and where the Scottish were and everything. It's very interesting.
Maybe someday I will get there.
Also a giant viaduct near there that we saw, and stones. We did not see the Callanish stones. I found out where those puppies are. They're on a freaking island up above the island sky. They're on like an island past the islands.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because I want to see some manner of standing stone. That's my goal. And I did. But I did not see like Stonehenge or any of that. Yeah.
I've never been to Stonehenge.
No, well, London wasn't my goal. I'm not a big city person. He's not a big city person. We knew Edinburgh was going in, but I wanted the history and we got it. And that's great. I'm glad I went. And I would go again briefly and then go somewhere that made me happier because I didn't get to see everything. There's so much.
And see, when we were in Edinburgh, we had a flat not near the Royal Mile. Mm-hmm. And the people in that area, like the first pub we went to, they were just so nice and so welcoming. And where are you here from? And what can we tell you about the beer? Because I was like, I need a drink, please. And they're like, okay, the list is up front. Just go ask the bartender any questions you have. He can let you taste anything. How hungry are you? They were just the neighborhood where we stayed, the people were very, very nice to us.
Oh, yeah. we stayed in a really neat Airbnb there in a neighborhood offset. Jeffrey hates it there now, though, because when he went to pick up a rental car, we hadn't used one up to that point. We got one to drive up to Inverness, which was hours away. And we got a ticket within like 2 seconds of him parking to come get our stuff to put in the car.
Oh.
So he was like, are there drones? Because we never saw a car. We never saw anything. There was a ticket. Anyway, I started to say something earlier. So, yes, because I went into how friendly it was. Edinburgh was I posted when I went there and I said, this is the first I felt like I'm inconveniencing people by trying to like go to their business or whatever. This is where the rudest people was in Edinburgh, and like tourist wise, you know, just like crowds of people and just all over you. And even like a guy, an author that I'm acquaintances with online, we're not friends, we don't know each other in person, who is Scottish, said, yeah, I don't go to Edinburgh because I do not like the food.
Oh, wow.
Of it. See, he said people are rude there, but it's such a neat town and they've got so much stuff. But
when we were in Great Britain, the rudest people were in Dublin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you're my people.
Right.
And they were just like,
I was like, but we are one. We were colonized.
And they were just like, fuck off.
Ooh, I will say not one person was nasty to me for being American, because I was a little nervous.
We had some interesting conversations. Nobody was outright mean.
I had people ask me, how do you feel about the current administration? I answered and they went, great, we can be friends.
Yes.
So that's where we'll leave that.
That's what we encountered. It was during the first time around. And we were like, we didn't vote for him.
I know. So no, they're very nice. But I was nervous. Like I had pins. It's like that I was going to wear if I found that people were being nasty. No, nobody was ever rude. No, for me being American. Our group was all Canadian and American women.
Oh,
so yeah,
and
our tour guide had grown up outside York, was born right outside York, so he knew what he was doing.
Nice.
He was the only male because he was our tour guide. But yeah, so I've had a lot of adventures.
You have,
and I think I'm good for a little bit.
You're ready to not.
I've convinced Jeffrey that we should move to Whitby. Honestly, so he's like, let's go. But we cannot because we have children, but and they do not want to go. Yes, we cannot yet, but I also have him convinced that we can live part-time in Mexico and part-time in Whitby, and he's cool with it. So
yeah, when it's the cold season,
cold season we're in Mexico,
yeah,
and hot season we're in Whitby.
Okay.
Sounds magical to me. And then I'm going to set up like writing things in each place and like excursions and stuff like that. And I'm just going to do that shit. I will make my money. I will write my books. I will live by the ocean in both places.
That sounds perfect.
Oh, I know, doesn't it? And on that note, so nice.
Yeah, that's a good note to end on.
Yeah, and a fairly positive.
Yes. Come full circle.
Yay, Whitby.
Yes.
No, but seriously, it was like all the things that make me happy in one place, except for boba tea. There was no boba tea there that I am aware of.
I can't help you with that one.
I know. I did not have boba tea again until I got to London.
I'm not a boba fan.
I know you're not, but it's the texture for me.
It's the texture for me.
I know. Aversions and preferences. Yes.
But we both
like, I just really need some chewy boba. And then I got some in London. I was so happy.
But we both liked the caramel M&Ms.
Yeah.
For the texture.
Yeah. Because it was like chewy and crunchy at the same. I love that.
Yes.
Oh, God. When we got back, we took girl child and we went to World Market or whatever, and we just filled 2 bags of like treats and snacks and stuff from other countries, because also I was going there to find ginger. I love ginger beer, and it's just not a big thing here, and they look at me like I'm crazy if I ask for like a can of ginger beer if like I'm feeling nauseous or something, and I'm like, can you have it in the bar? You have mules. Can I just have a fucking can of ginger beer? No, they don't want. It is actually a standard soda sold in both.
Nice.
Both England and Scotland that I found, and I was having it a lot because it's also good for inflammation and stuff. And I was terribly inflamed in my knee, right? And so I was drinking that. And also we were driving around in a bus all day for some of the things, like through the moors or through the dales too. Just tiny, windy one-way roads.
Oh, being in a vehicle.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
So I was drinking. Yeah, I get motion sickness. So people know. And so ginger beer was like my happy place when I was there.
I bet.
And so I was looking for the brands go because they love ginger in the UK. And I love ginger, and it's just not as popular here. It's big in Asia. It's big in the UK. It is not as big here. And so I was able to get ginger in so many things. And so we got here, and I wanted to see if I could find specific brands that I'd found that I liked that had a stronger ginger, because they even have like the heat, and it's not the same as like Burrowing Owl, where it's it's fermented and all that, and it's just pure cold fire. I love it. But
theirs isn't carbonated.
It was carbonated. It was sold as a soda.
At Burrowing Owl?
Oh, no. Theirs is not carbonated.
Theirs is not carbonated. No, when you buy it in the store. Cheers has some. Cheers has a better brand. I can't remember which one it is.
Well, I did find an actual British
good
brand that I had liked. That was, I don't remember what it is, but I picked up a bottle of that to make sure is this the same, or is this? But yeah, so like 2 bags that we've been working through of treats from just all over the world. So good.
It's fun.
Yeah. I was like, because also I'm going to be making less here eventually. And I was like, let's go have some fun while I have some money.
While we can. Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Anyway.
All right. So I guess we will talk to these fine people next month.
That's right. Talk at you anyway.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.